Okay, I'm back at Hamilton Police Station 10, and I'm here with ER, and I'm just going to shut up and listen and let him explain what's going on today.
Yeah, so we've been coming to the police in many different cities, and there's many aspects of this lockdown that we are reporting the crimes of to the police. And so right now, I just want it to be known, Hamilton Police, they have this information. So I'd like to point out in detail, this signature here is on the Declaration of Emergency, March 17th, 2020. And this signature here is on the extension of that first emergency. If you look at this signature, and if you look at this signature, it's not the same signature. Many people will say that's not the same person. Okay? So on the first Declaration of Emergency, we question the authenticity of the signatures, and we've come to the police asking them to look at it, and we've actually asked the police to question the Lieutenant Governor on the authenticity of the signatures. And we've not heard whether the police have questioned the Lieutenant Governor or not on the authenticity of the signatures, because if the police did not, then they would be perverting, defeating, obstructing and interfering with the course of justice, and they'd be committing 139 bracket 2 obstructing justice, Canadian Criminal Code. So I know it's tough to ask the Lieutenant Governor questions, but you know, so let's carry on with the signatures. So here, again, we're Hamilton Police.
I'm going to get right in.
This is the signature I just showed you on the other page. This is the extension of the first emergency. Now, this signature right here, and this signature right here, okay, this is the extension of the third emergency. And this one here is the declaration of the third emergency. So if we look at the declaration of the third emergency, you can see the word recommended is broken apart.
Okay.
And the curl of the capital D has been cut out with a little dot under the ED. Okay, so this is a digitally edited erasure.
You're going to have to explain the dot to me.
Or an obliteration. See, there's a dot right there.
Yeah, what's the significance of
well,
the dot?
because it was cut out. Because the word recommended is broken. It was edited. Yes, I'll get to that. So this is not a wet signature. Okay, this is cut and paste, if anything. And I'm not sure if Doug Ford knows how to cut and paste it or not. Okay, or the Lieutenant Governor knows how to cut and paste it. So we need the Lieutenant Governor question on whether this is an authentic signature, only because it's different than this signature, and it's also different than this signature.
Are you suggesting that somebody else signed it other than Doug Ford?
I want the police to question the Lieutenant Governor on the authenticity of the signatures. I don't care what anyone thinks. I want the police to investigate this. So this here is the extension of this third emergency.
Yes.
Okay. And this also, the word recommended is broken. It's broken differently than here. Okay. The ED here is about 1 pixel lower than the rest of this word recommend. Over here they're on the same level, but again the curl of the D is taken out, the recommended is broken, and also on the signature line, it's not even a complete line, but it's broken right there. Okay, so this is not a wet signature.
Okay.
This is an edited erasure or something, or obliteration or something. That's section 366 Criminal Code, forgery. And so now over here, this is extension of orders. This is April 1st. This signature does not even look anywhere close to this signature, although these two look like it's similar, but they're not the same.
Okay.
And it's different than these two signatures. So on this page here, we have 3 different Doug Ford signatures. Madam Lieutenant Governor, Madam Lieutenant Governor, we need you to tell the police, go to the police, what all the signatures, and tell the police which ones are real. We need you to tell everybody on earth which signatures are real. So having said that, let's carry on with the signatures. Here's more signatures.
This is Elizabeth Dodswell. No, we're still on Doug
okay,
Ford.
so here are rules for Area 1. This is May 21. Again, the line underneath Doug Ford, and I don't like picking on the Premier. The line is broken. The D is messed up. The capital F is messed up over here. It might even be messed up over here. It's hard to say. But so we have 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 issues with this. Plus there's no printed name of this person, whoever this person is. Well, it looks like Doug Ford. So here we have another signature. This signature looks different than some of the other signatures, but Ford over here is broken over here. Now this is not a wet signature because they're all different. They all have defects. They all have copy and pasted defects. And again, over here, the word recommended is underlined. So this is definitely digitally edited by somebody, and I don't think the Lieutenant Governor nor the Premier knows how to digitally edit, although they might.
They don't know how to
We
run
don't know that.
province.
We don't know that, and so we need the police to investigate the Lieutenant Governor and take her into custody and question the Lieutenant Governor on the authenticity of the signatures. Because here's another signature, Doug Ford. Okay, there's an obliteration or an erasure right over here.
Yeah.
Okay, and again, there's no printed name. It looks similar to some of the other standard signatures, so to speak, but there's too many different styles of Doug Ford out there. This here is the signature of the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario. Okay, now if you notice, there's the line there, but there's extra lining underneath the signature as if it was copied and pasted improperly and perfectly.
Okay.
So this to me is not a wet signature. If you're going to have a declaration of emergency or a stay-at-home order or anything, it better be a wet signature, not something that's copied and pasted.
For those of us watching at home, what does that mean, wet signature?
It means I sign it like that.
So to clarify, a wet signature is just simply
I sign
means
it with a pen.
it's not a photocopy.
With ink. It's not
A
copied
photocopy.
and pasted or
Okay.
electronic.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, so now here we have other issues with signatures that we've asked the police to question the Lieutenant Governor on. Okay, because all of this is forgery to me. Criminal Code 366. So over here we have the Chair of Cabinet signing. Again, this signature of the Chair of Cabinet, and I haven't shown it, but is different than other Chair of Cabinet signatures. I don't want to say it's chicken scratch, although I just did. But this here, is this a 1 or 2 year old that signed this? I can't.
Well, my signatures are not.
I am not able to tell who this person is on an order in council. That should be very evident who this person is on an order in council.
Yes.
Okay? And this is underlined over here. So no name, can't read the name, it's underlined over here. And then there's other aspects to the digitalness of it. Now over here, this is enforcement of COVID-19 measures, April 16, 2021. Doug Ford's signature, look at the capital D, it's broken on the bottom here.
Oh, I thought that was Terry Fox.
Yeah, it looks like, doesn't it?
Okay.
Looks like Terry Ford maybe.
Terry Fox.
Yeah, Terry Fox, okay? So the bottom of the D is obliterated, erased, etc. And look at the upper quadrant on the right here, right? It's totally obliterated. And the stem on the D of Doug Ford is obliterated or erased, etc. This makes this questionable of Criminal Code 366 forgery, and that's why we're at the police station, because somebody very likely has committed forgery, especially on a stay-at-home order and a declaration of emergency, and people are being jabbed and they can't work.
Yeah.
And even can't buy food in grocery stores. Okay, and we're all going to get to that.
You're pointing out the seriousness of these signatures.
Yeah, you don't copy and paste on a serious issue like this.
Okay.
Okay, and so there's a lot to talk about with that. So here's another signature. Again, there's no name. It looks like Doug Ford if I had to guess who it is. And look at the Ford over there. It's broken right there.
Yeah.
Okay. The recommended is underlined. Okay, which is not supposed to be. Okay. And okay, so that's about as much as I can find in that one. And then look at this signature here. This is enforcement of COVID-19 measures, April 17th. Okay, the day after the third declaration of emergency. No, it's April 17th. Again, this Doug Ford signature doesn't look like this Doug Ford, and if this one was complete, it doesn't look like that Doug Ford. This is a very different signature. This is another signature. Okay, so now let's analyze this here. Where's the Ford?
Well, again, my signatures are not always identical to each other.
But this signature doesn't look like this signature. Doesn't look like this signature. Doesn't look like this signature. There's too many signatures, and we need to, with all due respect, we need to stop playing devil's advocate, because devil's advocate does not lead to getting to the bottom of it. Okay. So having said that, so we are at the police station. we are not able to have conversations. Like, we would like to know, did the detective question the lieutenant governor on the authenticity of the signatures?
Okay.
Hamilton Police, did you question the lieutenant governor on the authenticity of the signatures? If not, we can accuse you of obstructing justice, defeating the course of justice, perverting the course of justice. People have committed suicide, for which I have a picture in my pocket here that I won't bring out.
Yeah,
Of
no,
somebody who's
I'm
committed
familiar
suicide.
with. Yes.
Okay? Lockdown suicides become murder. So
Agreed.
So now, with regards to this, and there's other issues as well. Another reason why we are here is because the intake office at the Ontario Court of Justice is not open to the population with regards to a private information or laying a private prosecution. They're not handing out applications for a private information for a private prosecution, and they're not accepting the applications for a private information for a private prosecution. So even if I've been told by the police, go lay a private information. Well, we don't have that ability since March 17, 2020. So we do not have equality of the law and protection of the law. So that so the only people that have access to the criminal courts are the police. If they arrest you and you did something criminal, you will be before a criminal judge. We don't have that same ability as of the first declaration of emergency, for which, look at the signatures. Look at the signatures. Okay, so we don't have that ability. So we don't have equality before the law and protection of the law. So we cannot file a private information against the lieutenant governor or the premier or even parliament. And so basically what we've had is a lack of due process on the stay-at-home orders, on the declared emergency, because a due process would require, and everybody can verify this, did you get an evidence package in the mail from the government of Ontario or the lieutenant governor or premier?
Me personally?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you and every police officer
and anyone watching this,
and me, did you get anything, an information package that you would have as to the reasons why you should lose your freedom? Did you get it on paper? Were you served by a process server? And then did you have the opportunity to have a rebuttal of the reasons for you to stay at home? No, I didn't get anything. I know you didn't get anything, and I know none of the police officers in here didn't get anything. And due process requires an evidence that they give to you with proper due process, and then you give a rebuttal back as to why your freedom should be maintained, and then you sit in front of a judge, and the judge, you make the case to the judge, you question the lieutenant governor on the on anything, why you should be free instead of that, and then you go back and forth, you can present information, and then the judge will say, well, you, person number, whatever, person, John Smith, Jane Smith, must stay home, and then in an order it'll be stamped with a signature, a seal, a date, and the findings of the due process. Okay, we never had due process in our losing of the freedoms or even the declared emergency. The declared emergency itself was done based on 7.0.1 bracket 3 of the Emergency Management Civil Protection Act, and that's all about the resources, criteria, and the circumstances. And we had 3 declared emergencies based on 7.0.1 bracket 3 of the Emergency Management Civil Protection Act. Not once did the lieutenant governor come out or anybody come out with what the actual resources were that there was an issue over, the criteria or the circumstances. Nobody said before the declared emergency, these are the circumstances. It's, we don't have enough hospital beds, we don't have enough pills, we don't have enough maybe Drano or hospital staff to clean the floors, etc., etc., etc. Nobody's ever come out with that, and since has never come out with that in 3 declared emergencies. But what we do have is we do have for sure 2 reports on the emergencies. There may be a 3rd one out by now, I'm not sure. But in the 2 reports on the declared emergencies that they have to do as in the Emergency Management Civil Protection Act, Those two reports never discusses the resources such as beds or pills or anything like that. They never discuss those resources. They never discuss the criteria nor the circumstances requiring a declared emergency. So therefore it is deemed a hoax. And so we are bringing that attention to the police as well.
Okay.
That this is hoax. Section 83.231 bracket 1 of the Canadian Criminal Code. We would like the police to question the Lieutenant Governor on what, well, I mean, there is no evidence, because I mean, we lost freedoms without evidence, without due process.
Yes.
Okay. And so in section 83.231 bracket 4, which is hoax regarding terrorism, if there's a death in section 83.231, which is hoax, it's life in prison. And we do have lockdown suicides, we do have health-related deaths, etc. So we're asking the police to question the Lieutenant Governor on all of this, and if possible, and it looks like, charge the Lieutenant Governor and others for murder. Criminal negligence causing death, section 220, and 229C, culpable homicide as murder, among other crimes as forgery, 366 Criminal Code. Also, the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, and probably other Lieutenant Governors of provinces, did disobey a statute. The Canadian Bill of Rights, section 1A, says you don't lose your freedom without due process. And you don't lose the right to your property without due process. Due process is like getting in information, replying to it, and cross-examining each other in front of a judge, and then the judge decides whether you lose your freedom or not, or your business is shut down or not. Again, that never happened. So the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario violated section 126 of the Canadian Criminal Code, disobeying a statute, by disobeying the statute named the Canadian Bill of Rights. The Canadian Bill of Rights was violated by the Lieutenant Governor in section 1A and 1B, among others, for religious freedoms and assembly.
Okay.
So the Lieutenant Governor violated the Canadian Bill of Rights, section 126 of the Canadian Criminal Code, and we're asking the police to lawfully take into custody the Lieutenant Governor. Now, it gets even better. In the third sentence in the preamble of the Canadian Bill of Rights, it states basically, Parliament shall ensure the protection of these rights and freedoms in Canada. Okay, the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario disobeyed the statute of the Canadian Bill of Rights, and Parliament shall ensure the protection of those rights and freedoms in Canada. Parliament clearly disobeyed and wantonly disobeyed the Canadian Bill of Rights, and therefore also violated section 126 of the Canadian Criminal Code. And we are also asking police to lawfully take into custody every member of Parliament, every parliamentarian. And Parliament is defined in section 17 of the 1867 Constitution Act as the Queen, the Senate, and the House of Commons. Okay, so we're asking the police to take all of them into custody and charge them with 126 disobeying a statute, as well as murder, because people have killed themselves. Now, we also have another situation where not just me, but others were at a grocery store just over there, about 4 kilometers or so, and we were not allowed to buy food in that store.
Yes.
That is tending to the destruction of an identifiable group. And that identifiable group, in whole or in part, would be people with masks exemptions. Police even helped this grocery store remove shoppers from the store and not allowed to buy food. This is the definition of genocide, the destruction of an identifiable group in whole or in part. And that identifiable group would be those with masks exemptions. Now, there's also another genocide going on right now, and there's another identifiable group that is set up for destruction right now. And those that don't have the vaccine passport or are not vaccinated, they're going to lose their right to the gaining of a livelihood. That will destroy families, that will destroy human beings, that will destroy children, that will destroy people who've lost their jobs, and we may get suicides out of that.
Okay.
And so that is also another destruction of an identifiable group in whole or in part. And that's genocide, and that's life in prison. So we're asking the police to lawfully take into custody the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario and others who are in these signatures, as well as Parliament, for not ensuring the protection of these rights and freedoms in Canada as per the Canadian Bill of Rights by disobeying a statute. There are parties to these offenses, and everyone who goes along with these measures, you're party to an offense. Section 21 of the Canadian Criminal Code. So I know I've talked long, so let me say this one other thing. We have a criminal information that we've been trying to get the police to act on. We would like to reach 26,000 police officers in Ontario. This is the population of Ontario that we would like to reach to end this legally, lawfully, etc., and criminally. So we have our information package. Since we are not able to go to the intake office and get a private information application, nor drop one off because they're not accepting them, we are now also at the police station asking the police to adjudicate this matter. So, you know, we actually have the documentation for the police to file into the criminal courts against the Lieutenant Governor, against Parliament.
Yes.
And if they have nothing and they want to use this, what they can do, it's right in here, they can actually cross out what they believe to be a little bit inaccurate and just write and just sign their name. They can just take the document as is, modify it, cross out, initial it, and get access to the criminal courts, because we don't have access to the criminal courts.
Yeah.
And prosecute the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, as well as others that are involved in this whole thing, as well as Parliament. So having said that, and I'm sorry I'm talking long, but there's another aspect.
We're at 20 minutes so far.
Provincially, and federal is the same thing, but provincially, the Lieutenant Governor signed on borrowing more and more money. Provincially, we're at $400 billion debt at least. We can't get to a consistent $250 million surplus. If we could get to a consistent $250 million surplus, it would take 1,600 years to pay off the Ontario debt. Federally, it's the same deal. It's just as bad. So no one has the statutory authority to put children born 1,000 years from now into debt. So this is fraud. Section 380 of the Canadian Criminal Code, and we're asking the police to lawfully take into custody the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario for fraud, Section 380 of the Criminal Code, as well as Parliament for the federal debt. Okay. That was a mouthful.
No, that was a mouthful, and I'm going to wrap it up with, if people want to visit your website, it's executivereasoning.com/murder.
That's right.
And you have another website address.
Arrestthem.com/murder.
Arrestthem.com/murder.
They go to the same link where there's a document that's the 140 pages at the moment, and we would like 26,000 police officers in Ontario. We're asking for police officers to read the criminal information, print it out, and if there's something that you don't like in it that's not going to help you in the case against the Lieutenant Governor and Parliament, you know, maybe just cross it out and initial it, or just add stuff. So here is the documentation that we have for the police. It's done in a manner that we
this is the document that Kelly read and that you read.
Yeah, this is now been added to. So as you can see here,
it's expansion.
It's expanded now. So here we would like the police. This is the information of a police officer, their badge number. Herein called the informant. The informant says that the accused committed the following criminal codes: Parliament, the Queen, the Senate, and the House of Commons. And here's all the criminal code violations.
And this is all on the website?
This is all on, this is the document.
Executivereasoning.com/murder.
I'd like the police to get this, print this document, put your name up here, sign your name in front of a commissioner of oath, and take the Parliament, and there's another one here for the Lieutenant Governor into custody. And as you can see, we have everything in here, the signatures.
Yeah, we just went through the signatures.
That we just went through. I mean, there's a lot more. Here's the actual one of the orders.
So that's why I encourage you to go to executivereasoning.com/murder.
Yeah, and just one last thing here. Here's an order in council. Okay, like here's one of them that we already looked at, right? There's no printed name, no printed name, no printed name.
Yes.
There's no Ontario regulation number on the order in council, and there's no stamp or seal.
Which is necessary for emergency order.
Well, I mean, we have a declared emergency, and there's no stamp or seal authenticating the signatures.
Yeah.
Police, we need you to end this today.
For all of us.
Today. This can end today.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your time. If you're still watching this, I'd ask you to smash that like button and leave a comment if you have any questions or concerns. Otherwise, like I'll say it again, executivereasoning.com/murder. Have a great day.